in for something pretty serious. Holy crap, that was insane!
Our trip from the Grand Canyon would start in Flagstaff, Arizona at Ceiba Adventures. This is where we'd pick up our rafts and a whole bunch of other gear. Ceiba even did our food prep for us.
I got our friend Brandon and my brother Ted here, and we're just gonna load up everything onto Brandon's truck and trailer and take off for Lee's Ferry today. We're gonna be 12 days on the Grand Canyon, God willing, and we're super excited about this trip. If anybody's interested in running the Grand Canyon or doing some other adventures in the area, check out Ceiba. They have everything amazingly dialed in. They outfit self-guided trips and just have everything so dialed in. Really awesome. Anyways, looking forward to this one, and here we go.
We headed to the put-in at Lee's Ferry. There, we began assembling our outfit, inflating the rafts, putting on the frame, and doing the dozens of other small tasks necessary for a successful trip.
Well, we are on the water. We got some serious rapids coming up today, but fortunately we kind of ease into the hard ones, so that's good. Fishing barbless hooks here. That's trickier. Oh well. This is beautiful though. Just saw a whole school of rainbow trout go past me. Well, as you can see, the Grand Canyon here and the Colorado River gets a lot more boat traffic. So you're gonna see it's a little different than a lot of my trips because you're gonna see other boats, or oftentimes I'll go out 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe see no people, maybe see one other group. About 30,000 people a year float the Grand Canyon. Beautiful. Wow. We are just passing Navajo Bridge, and we're just looking at these amazing condors here. I've never seen a condor in my life before. They're a very rare bird. After seeing the condors, saw 2 bighorn sheep, and they'd be desert bighorn, and it was actually a female and a very, very small baby. So pretty lazy start to the trip, but now things are amping up because we have the first serious rapid, and this one's called Badger. There's the largest hole in all of the Grand Canyon, and that's a place you very much don't want to be without going into more description. So we can't be too far left. If we're too far right, we hit the hole, and we got to fight a current that's trying to push us into the hole to kind of stay middle left and then bomb down the rapid. So kind of tricky. We're gonna jump out and take a peek at it because it's very hard to really see it just from the boat. And fingers crossed it goes okay, but this will be our first real test of the trip right now.
This is a great vantage point because you can't see it from the river.
Right, yeah, we're not gonna be able to see this from the river at all. Here we go, baby. First major run of the Grand Canyon. Feeling a little nervoso, some nerves. All right, Ted's going. Looks like he nailed it. super fun. Yes, Ted.
Yes.
Yes. All right, well, I'm just pulling out my Nanuk Trail 50 to get some sunscreen out of here because it is getting hot and sunny. This is an awesome case that I bring on these trips. I got my first aid kit in here, the Nanuk 903, and I just bring other gear in here. I got my snake gaiters, some coffee, a coffee press, you know, extra reel, an extra map case for Ted, and then I really like how it has these little compartments here, right? I got shoe goo repair for my shoes, beaners, fishing stuff. This one I got some binoculars. I'm going to keep this out because we just saw some bighorn sheep. This is completely waterproof. It's super tough. The latches are great, and as you can see here, I brought this on the plane. So I just checked this whole thing, and this actually comes out like that, and it actually has wheels on it too. So you can just wheel this through the airport, wheel it up to camp if you want when it's full, and it tucks right back in like that. So great thing for gear and to travel with. Makes me feel warm and cozy on the inside. Back on the scouting trail, and it's another rager. Grand Canyon has its own rating system, so this one they're calling a class 5, and I think it goes up to 10. So considering how the class 5s are scaring the heck out of us, the 10s are going to be real fun. Wow, that was pretty exciting. Just bombed over a huge wave. Overall, just having an absolute blast out here. Colorado River, Grand Canyon. We are approaching House Rock Rapids now. It's a beautiful evening, probably later than we want to be paddling, to be honest with you. Not a fun time to flip. No other parties on the river to really help us either, so those are kind of the dangers, but it will also be great to get this rapid behind us and hopefully find good camping at its base or downriver a little bit. But this one's more intense than anything we've done today by a good little chunk, and requires an advanced level move that I've never even done before. This is going to be the biggest test so far. There's a decent chance we flip. Fingers crossed we don't. I'm pretty nervous because there's a lot of power going there, and it's going to smash you into that wall on the left, and then that huge irregular curling wave hole thing would be a potential flipper if you bombed into that sideways.
Holy cow.
Are you scared?
It's gonna slam you guys for sure.
You think so? For sure?
For sure.
I didn't really have the angle right, and I ended up barely missing those big holes. I just hit them far enough to their right that they didn't tip me, but fortunately I was able to hold on to my oar with these pin and clip oars and stay in the boat. So not exactly what I had planned, but close enough, baby. All right, well, that was something else. From a distance, looking back at it, House Rock Rapid that we just managed to run doesn't look that big, but let me tell you, when you're in the midst of it, she's a big one. There's logs on the top of that from flood. Crazy. Well, we bailed on our plans. We brought a little firebox. We're gonna cook steaks. And so late, it just started hammering rain, so we decided to eat sandwiches. Okay, here we are, day 2 of our trip in the Grand Canyon. It is morning time, and a rainy morning at that. It is very rare for it to be raining in June here, but hey, it is what it is. It's still gonna be almost 30 degrees Celsius, and then it's gonna be much more normal for the remainder of our trip. Anyways, I'm gonna have this coffee here and start cooking some eggy wags. Okay, well, we are on the water. Rainy morning this morning, and it's still drizzling, but it's calmed down a bit. Ted and I and Brandon, we got a good breakfast going, bacon and eggs. Made it to a little sandwich there, and anyways, we're on the river now, and we want to finish sooner today than we did yesterday. So we're gonna have to paddle a little harder, but the thing is, today's going to be a more challenging day to make time because we have a ton of crazy rapids just stacked one after the other. "23-mile rapid, just endless rapids we're about to run." What do you think, Ted? Are you stoked about this stretch?
There's pictures of rafts dumping here.
Well, we jumped out to scout Georgie Rapid, and it drops abruptly, so from the boat you couldn't see much. So we jumped out and climbed up this hill, and it looks like insane. That's the way to do it. Okay, well, again, this one doesn't look crazy from upriver, but there's a big drop, so I think this is going to be another wild ride. Short one, but challenging. Our map shows this as a class 6. Yeah! The boys made it down! But we nailed it! I spun around in the eddy right behind the first hole, and that spun me, and then I had a pretty good ride. I got a little more sideways than I would have liked to have, but no issues. Well, feeling pretty pro on that one. Wasn't very tricky, but I used that downstream ferry maneuver that I didn't do so well on the previous one, and managed to avoid all the crazy stuff. So we're just passing a series of caves in these cliffs that are just spectacular. They're actually extremely old lava that's been hardened and carved out by the river over many years. Really cool. Anyways, we're just almost through a section of the river called the Roaring Twenties, and they're called the Roaring Twenties because they're raging, and they're, you know, throughout the 20 to 30 mile markers of the river. Look at this. This is our campsite for tonight right here. So we're gonna camp, and look at this view. Okay, we're gonna charge some batteries, and since we're on a rafting trip and we can carry quite a bit more weight, I brought my Bluetti AC70P portable power bank and a 100-watt solar panel. That is a 100-watt solar panel. And this here is a Bluetti AC70P. This is an awesome little device here. It's got 2 USB-C outputs, 2 USB outputs. Unfortunately, we're kind of in an area that doesn't have sun, but the thing's 93% full anyway. So basically, I want to just get stuff charged up. Bluetti AC70P. It's a 1,000 watt unit and it gives you 864 watt hours, which is amazing. You can see what's coming in, you can see what's going out. It's got the USB-C, the USB, the DC, and 2 AC outlets. Good grab handle, and of course the 100 watt solar panel is amazing. So I get a ton of use of it at home too, and of course I use it a lot on all my adventures. Winter camping, rafting trips, vehicle trips, even canoe trips. Me and Ted brought that large device on a 25-day canoe trip that we were filming and all that. So check it out, Bluetti AC70P. I'll put a link in the description here if you want to take a closer look. Anyways, good to get stuff charging. Got that out of the way. Next thing I'm gonna jump over and do is set up the tent. And then we're gonna get some food going because I'm feeling a little hungry.
This is just paradise right here.
Yeah, perfect temperature.
Yeah.
Perfectly cooked
Zero
steak.
bugs.
No bug.
Jim and I are used to getting hammered by bugs. Zero bugs.
It took me about 24 hours to get used to just not bugs coming at me.
Right. Zero bugs. Just a delicious steak. Beach campsite in the Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon, towering walls here, the hum of a downstream rapid. Very cool.
Absolutely spectacular.
Well, breakfast today is bagels, cream cheese, and smoked salmon, and of course coffee. We thought that would be a little faster than bacon and eggs because we want to try to get out of camp quicker today because we have about 30 miles to travel. Well, we are on the water and we're camped in an area where there's lots of cool caves. And you're actually not supposed to enter caves in the Grand Canyon because a lot of them have artifacts in them and even remains, bones from old megafauna, which are, you know, mammoths and giant sloths, saber-toothed tigers and all that kind of stuff that were here many thousands of years ago. And now we are just traveling through Red Wall Canyon, and I could see why it has that name. Well, we're just cruising down here and there's a bunch of natural bridges up on the cliffs. Just crazy formations everywhere. So we're coming up to 36 Mile Rapid. Downstream ferry, and unfortunately I didn't get to run all these fun waves, but I wanted to avoid these jagged rocks here at the bottom. Well, that wasn't so bad. I think, geez, this is probably my favorite stretch of river so far. I'm filming as much as I can here, trying to capture it, but I just feel like you can't. It's so incredibly otherworldly, dramatically, ruggedly beautiful, all of the things. I mean, caves, natural bridges, peaks, freestanding spires, sheer walls. Like, it's just endless. Sandwich stop, ham sandwich with some crispy, crunchy vegetables on day 3 in the hot desert. Pretty good. Back on the river and just basically trying to find some shade. This is much more seasonal. The sun is baking down on us right now. It's a dry heat. It's not like the humidity I'm used to at home, but I mean, this is the desert. It's over, 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And there's gonna be hotter days than this too. It can be 180 down here in the canyon. As fun as the rapids are, it's also just enjoyable to sit back a bit and watch the scenery. It's amazing around every corner and not be so terrified by rapids all the time. The Whitewater is a big deal, but that's, I'd say not what it's all about. It's about the canyon itself. It's about seeing this geological wonder of the world and just soaking in the natural beauty, communing with nature, learning about the history a little bit of the place, the geology, and just being thankful. One thing I did at the lunch break was I soaked my shirt in the river. It was shockingly cold when I put it on, but I feel so much cooler now. Okay, well, it's been a little while of just paddling, but now we have a rapid. There's a huge boulder in the middle. Looks pretty intense. I'm gonna try to stay left of the boulder and just ride her down. Those kind of ones are getting sort of easy for us now, but there's some big curling waves. You didn't really want to hit them sideways, so I just pushed hard and broke through the V of irregular waves on the left side and then missed the big kind of curling wave. I probably just could have run it middle, but that's better. That is much better. We are coming up to a class 5, and this one's got a huge, ugly looking pour over in the middle boulder, so we have to hit it left, and then I have to back ferry right to miss a huge boulder at the end because the rapid's on a big turn. that was exhilarating. Everybody had a good run. I bombed over the last set of waves sideways and got a little moist. Okay, well, we have a class 4 here. Big boulder on the top right. It's looking like I can run it center left. Okay, well, we made it. We did 30 miles today. That's what, 48 kilometers or something? And we made it where we want to make it to. This is the little Colorado River. It's absolutely spectacular. That is pretty convenient. Just kind of directions and our food ready for us. Spanish rice. Me and Ted might just sleep on the boat tonight. I doubt it's gonna rain. We do have like a little tent set up that we can set up on the boats, but I might just sleep out under the stars. I don't really want to sleep here on the beach on land because there are rattlesnakes around here and scorpions. They might decide to cuddle up with us for the night, but they're not going to be getting onto the boat, so I think that's what I'm going to be doing. It'll be a nice cooler sleep than setting up the tent.
It is pretty warm, man. Down by the river. The river is actually quite cool, so it's much cooler down there.
Kind of chilly out, eh?
It is chilly.
We're gonna have a full day today. It's already later than we would have liked to have gotten out of camp, but we needed a good sleep. We did a lot of miles yesterday, and it's a hot one today too. I'm already feeling the sweat as I'm loading the boat. That's like the hardest part of the day, is just lugging your stuff to the boat oftentimes. But anyways, one of the really cool things about this spot, this is actually a fish sanctuary. You can't fish here, and there are an endangered species of humpback chub, and they look almost like a bluey gray color with a big hump on their back, and we can see them swimming all around here right in this eddy. Very cool. We got some shots with the GoPro of them underwater, and they're just hanging out right in this back eddy right where we pulled up the boat. So that's pretty special. And I think you know, they're endangered probably with environmental things. You know, the water in the Colorado below Glen Canyon Dam where we are is much colder than it would be naturally, because they release that water from the bottom of the dam, and you know, other factors as well, environmental factors as well. I'm not exactly sure why, but it's very cool to see them thriving just in this last little pocket here. But anyways, I gotta get out of here because I'm starting to bake. Well, it is an absolute scorcher out, about 37 degrees Celsius. But you know what? It's not humid, which helps. Anyways, we're just leaving the little Colorado River. And if there's anything cool about it not being the beautiful blue color and it being completely silt laden and brown, it's that the two waters of the main Colorado and the little Colorado mixing are kind of cool. You see this like brown pushing up against this emerald green color, and it's kind of interesting. I'm gonna paddle right through it. There's the little Colorado Canyon. Let's hope that Havasu Falls, when we get there, it won't be affected by that heavy rain we had, and we'll get to see that beautiful blue water. Well, we are passing along the Hopi salt mines, and it's not really what you think. It's not like a dugout hole like a mine shaft. There's just naturally occurring salt all from here. You could see the white leaching out from the rocks, and there's actually big white piles of it. And this is where the Hopi, an indigenous tribe, used to come and collect salt from. Up there, believe it or not, there's a foot trail called the Beamer Trail, and I'm guessing that that would be the ancient Hopi foot trail to reach these salt mines, potentially, that's still sometimes used for backpackers and whatnot today. We are just above Humpback Creek Rapid, and we're actually going to scout the rapid takeout here, but there's supposed to be some very, very old buildings and structures and dwellings from early people here, and we're going to take a second and go check them out. Should be really cool. This is old Pueblo pottery people have found and placed them here. Crazy. Look, that must be super old. Look at this for cutting. So that like predates when there's metal here. And like all this old pottery. That is wild. Yeah, just looking at these old pieces of pottery that are 1,000 years old. I guess stuff just lasts a long time in the desert. And these are just pieces of pottery that people have picked up and put there. But look, they're all over the place. Well, and there is the rapid we're about to run, a class 6.
Is that a stereotypical tumbleweed or what?
Rolling along with the tumbling tumbleweeds. But just so cool to stand in the same place where people were living like that thousands of years ago. Here we go, we have Humpback Rapid. This is just downriver from where we jumped out to have a look at those old structures. And yeah, now we're bombing a rapid. Well, we just passed an old Pueblo granary. Yeah, pretty neat stretch of river here with the human history, seeing old pottery and stuff like that. Pretty special.
We made it to our campsite, and it's potentially before 6, around 6. It's kind of just nestled into these mesquite trees right at the beginning of a big rapid, so we're gonna have to start the day off with a pretty intense rapid. We're having some chicken brats. Beautiful campsite. Hopefully we get into bed by 10 and have another great day on the river, but current seems to be faster for sure since we met up with the little Colorado. What are you doing?
I'm deflating my air mattress.
Ah.
Just so happens to also feel comfortable.
Ah. Ted's making some Sammies. Well, that is about it for this campsite. Today is going to be just by far the most insane day. The water's coming up. It was down low this morning. It's coming up again now, which might help us, but either way, we have a bunch of class 8s. We don't even know what that is. The class 7 was like insane. We're gonna be sending these rafts down, by far some of the biggest stuff you've seen yet, and some of the most challenging rapids in all the Grand Canyon today too. So great time for my second rafting trip ever. Okay, so we're on the water and we're starting off with a pretty raging rapid, but from our notes it says we can kind of just stay left on it. Exhilarating way to start the day. It's about 9:30 in the morning. It takes us about 3 hours to break camp, which is about an hour more than it takes us on a canoe trip. I think it's just because we have more gear. We got to strap all that gear down and all that meticulously, but we're getting faster. Watch out for that rock! Get right! Okay, on the trek here to scout the Notorious Hance Rapid, class 8 super technical maneuver that I've been trying to pull off on some easier rapids and keep blowing. So the stakes are pretty high here. Really good scouting trail. Tells me a lot of people get out and scout this one, even the guides who, you know, do it multiple times a year. So that tells me we're in for something pretty serious. Well, it doesn't look that big from here, but we're gonna have to avoid that hole, get left of it, and then get into the eddy behind those rocks. So I'm gonna have to paddle backwards downstream Ferry across this diagonal wave into that eddy, spin around, and then stay left. If by any reason where the river's pushing us, if we end up through here, we're gonna flip. This is called the land of the giants, and they're just massive waves. So what do you think happens if we bomb into those holes in the land of the giants in our big 18-footers?
Yeah, momentum, you'll go through them.
You think we'll bomb through? Yeah?
I've done it 4 times going through
Nice.
the land of the giants.
So just tee everything up. And
Yeah, what really,
How's the water right now?
what
Like
really
medium?
will mess you up is you see that first little pour over?
Yeah.
It's called Emilio's, and that was usually where boats will get like recirced in there, and then that would flip into rafts.
Okay. Okay, we have arguably the most challenging and technical rapid of the trip. We actually bumped into another group with some guides at the top and watched what line they ran, and all of them missed the line, and they've done this multiple times. So that's concerning.
That was insane! We nailed it! Yes, boys! Woo! That was insane. Wow, this is incredible. Okay, we're coming up to a rapid called Grapevine, and I'm feeling particularly nervous because we didn't scout this one. To scout it, you have to scramble along this like cliff. There's nowhere to tie up for a while back, and our notes say you only really need to scout it at low water, which we don't have, but you know, that's for people that actually know what they're doing. This one right, but there's a huge back eddy just upriver from where I want my line to be. That worked out. Well, that one was a tricky one, kind of surprised us. Today is going pretty good. We ran many back-to-back rapids, including arguably one of the hardest of the whole trip, and a lot of big stuff. I actually was only rated a class 3 here on the Grand Canyon scale. I went into a huge wave trough, couldn't get up over the wave, fell back, got caught in the surf, spun around, got spat out. Maybe not the closest I've come to being thrown out of the raft, but second closest. It'd be a lot cooler wetting your clothes in the water fountain. Brandon's not too sure about this water. He's a little concerned.
Like a rafter guy told me that it's water.
Okay, well, we just refilled our water, which is awesome. There's drinking water here right on the trail side at Phantom Ranch, and we're gonna jump back on the water. It is a freaking scorching hot afternoon, and trying to make it past like another couple, 2 or 3 more class 8s today. Well, we are approaching Horn Creek Rapid, and there's 2 horns, they're called, at the top, which are 2 big boulders.
This is a class 8 and I can see just like mist coming up from it. It's a 9-foot drop, but abrupt, and I can just hear it roaring as I feel the intense fear in my soul building with every stroke. We're gonna give her! He said hit the horn with your front right tube! Well, it's getting to the part in the day where we got to figure out where we're going to camp. There's another group in front of us, and it might not be a bad idea to run the rapid while they're there, because we only have 3 people, and if we need help, there might be an extra set of hands there to help us if we flip, because we're headed for a rapid called Granite, which is another 8. This is actually a cool little camp spot here, but we want to get past this, and it's still relatively early. So we think we're gonna send it down this one. There's apparently 18-foot standing waves here. So we're all feeling a little terrified. Well, Ted and I are about to run the biggest waves in the Grand Canyon on Hermit here. And we're gonna run it in a chain. So Ted's gonna go first, and I'm gonna go just behind Ted. So we're gonna be like 20 feet apart. I'm not gonna really follow Ted, but we'll just be close together for safety. Things get real interesting closer to the bottom on this one. Wish me luck. That was absolutely freaking wild. So fun. Funnest run yet. Well, the rapid we just ran blew my mind. Huge waves, like just such high volume. And I pushed through it to make sure, because some of them were so big, I didn't know my raft would make it over. I thought I'd surf them, but sure enough, I did. We just ran the middle down, just everything was huge.
It's a tsunami wave train.
Tsunami wave train, that's a really good explanation as well. This is luxury. Mashed potatoes, pulled pork. Well, I've had coffee in a lot of nice places, but the Grand Canyon has got to be one of the best. go. Breakfast of champions. The water level has left us high and dry. Me and the boys use all of our energy to get mine out after unloading a lot of the stuff. The reason for that is that there's just not a big drop off at this campsite. It's gradual. And for whatever reason last night, upstream at the Glen Canyon Dam, they just held more water back. You know, I probably could have pushed the boats in a little bit more, but my rope was only just barely long enough. So we got to do some serious man hauling this morning. I wouldn't want to leave my boat tied up overnight on this. Okay, baby, we got another class 8 right after getting on the river. But I'm starting to get less and less terrified and having more fun without the fear on these things.
Looks pretty technical with some pretty bad consequences if you don't hit your line, because these holes are going to flip you, possibly hold you there. And then because the water I think is a little lower right now, there's some rock shooting out, so there's just a very tiny section to miss it by.
I wouldn't say it's the funnest one, it's more like technical. Unless you want to run the fun route though, but you might run into trouble. The top one was technical. I hit the first hole kind of more than I wanted to, so I should have started my downstream ferry a little sooner, but it was actually great. And I managed to spin around, miss the second hole to the right, which I think is easier to do with this size of raft, and then miss that rock on the left. So ran almost exactly the line I wanted to. And then the rapid under that was crazy, just like a huge wave train, big hole there to avoid. And then I just bombed some awesome waves right down the middle. One was like, I really had to push because I was worried I was gonna get stuck in it. So yeah, what a blast. It's nice to know that you can just bomb sideways in the hole and still not dump sometimes too. Anyways, that was a really fun run. One of the things that messed me up too was a really strong wind, and that was affecting the way I could steer. So I was trying to straighten up and hit the hole head on, but I couldn't because it was a hard gust of hot wind. Nailed it! Never nailed that run. Came in, eddied out, spun around, downstream ferried, missed all the crazy stuff in the rocks. Yet another class 7 bomb, and I don't think I could have hit that one any better. So yeah, glad that I'm building up before Lava Falls, which is probably the craziest, biggest, and most intense rapid on the Grand Canyon. But by the time I get there, I'm gonna be a hell of a lot better than day one. Well, just getting out of the boats for a sec to check out something cool that I see on the hill up over here. Well, this boat has been abandoned here since 1915. A guy named Charles Russell tried to run the canyon in 1915 and abandoned this boat and bailed on the adventure. Who knows how the heck they got out of here on foot. But wow, that's a real expedition. Well, the next thing we're gonna check out here is a place called Havasu Creek. And apparently there's a short walk up to a beautiful waterfall where we can cool off and maybe take some water. So we're gonna pull over for a little side adventure here before pushing on. Got a big old rapid coming up, big old rapid. Well, we're almost at our campsite, but we pulled over at a spot called Elves Chase 'Em. I don't know if there's actually any elves here because elves aren't real, but I mean, some people think they are, and that's okay. Well, this place is like Shangri-La. There's another waterfall coming in down here, one down here, and awesome view out to the river. Just really cool. Little caves everywhere. Ted saw a snake. He's down a level below me. Beautiful little deep pools of emerald, cool, clear water. Very, very interesting. And now we're gonna just try to put about 4 more miles behind us, get a little bit ahead. Today is day 6, so this marks the halfway point of our trip. We actually finished the morning of the 13th, but all we're gonna have to do is whip everything in the boat and paddle not even a mile to where we finished. So tonight we're having fish tacos. Get them all into the seasoning. Look at that. Fish tacos. Got my first aid kit here. Got to re-tape up my toes and disinfect them because for whatever reason those sandal shoe type things I'm wearing just like dig into my toes, especially when sand gets in there. They just wear through my skin, and it's either that or my big wading boots, which I'm worried are going to be way too hot. Breakfast sausage on a bagel with cream cheese. It's good. Okie dokie. We are on the water. Today we have a lot of rapids, but not too many like terrifying, death-defying ones like the other day. So fun rapids that likely, other than maybe one, we won't have to get out and scout, and we could use our river notes on how to run them and just keep an eye on the map to know where we are. Gonna go take a quick peek at a narrow, tight canyon called Blacktail Canyon here, which is roughly at mile 120. Well, this is gonna be cool. Well, I can't say I've ever been to a place quite like this. Well, this has been a successful little side adventure, short walk off of the river, and we explored this crazy narrow slot canyon right up to this trickling little waterfall and pool. Very, very cool spot. Towering high, tight walls, just the different sedimentary layers. I think they're sedimentary layers going right up to the top is very, very interesting. So what a neat place. I'm really glad we stopped to check it out. Well, cool little side adventure there. Now we're running a rapid. Well, that was very cool. We just passed 6 mature rams, desert bighorn rams there, all just in those bushes, and we just slowly and quietly floated by them. And I could have filmed them more, but we have a raging rapid just behind us. So that was really, really cool. Like we've seen desert bighorns, we've seen tiny baby, but to see a group of rams like that all together is pretty special. Watching the Rams bombing a rapid. What an epic, epic start to the day. You want to pull over here? His pin that holds his oar in just fell out of the fucking boat. I'm gonna try to throw this to Ted. Row, row, row! I can't hold on to anything. Ted's pin, the thing that holds his whole oar in, fell out. So he only had one oar at the top of a class 5 and he couldn't row to shore. See the oar tower here and the pin just fell out.
Okay, so what happened is the black ball came off and this part and this part and the ball whipped in the water.
So, but if the
and
black
this fell
ball
down inside.
But if the black ball, oh, okay. Did you think we were about to whip over?
I thought he was gonna go for sure.
Pretty close, wasn't it?
He'll jump on his boat.
Crazy. So we're trying to make it to 19 miles. Today would be mile 131, Bedrock Rapid. How do you like this black canyon? It almost looks like it's wet. It's so shiny in some places.
Water, I think, a lot of it.
We are arriving at Bedrock Rapid. This is a class 7. We're gonna scout it out. There's an enormous, massive boulder in the middle of this rapid, and the current's pushing left of it. If you go left of the boulder, you're in a lot of trouble. You're not making it through. So to go right of the boulder, you have to break through that current, doing an aggressive and hard downstream ferry. And yeah, so high stakes run right here, technical and pretty scary. We're gonna pull over and take a closer look at it. Well, it looks like Ted and Brandon just bombed it. Maybe they saw something I didn't. Whew, okay, here we go. This is a weird one. Shallow here. Just go down to there. Well, that was pretty interesting. I got hung up on the rocks on the gravel bar there, and Ted came over and I threw him the throw bag. I went to the back of the boat and we pulled, and then I came off the rocks and just bombed it. And honestly, even though it got stuck for a bit, wasn't really a terrible plan because it meant I was so far right that there was no way I was gonna go left of the island or get pushed up on the rock. So in the end, it actually worked out pretty good, but not what I had planned. You know, the water here is so murky and silty, it's very hard to see underwater rocks. Looks like there's some massive holes through there. You don't want to get pushed in the rock, so maybe downstream ferry across that way. All right, this is arguably the most intense rapid of the entire trip yet. I'm shitting my pants, Ted's shitting his pants, Brandon already shitting his pants. And basically the thing that's concerning me is I more or less have to do the same maneuver that I blew on the last one. Okay, well, I gotta say, I am feeling the heat right now. But anyways, I think I'm gonna get a chance to cool down a bit because this is Deer Creek and it goes up a tight chasm. There's a waterfall just behind me. Really cool tablestone terraces that you can walk up looking down into this chasm. It looks really, really cool. So yeah, just another little side hike we're gonna do today. And looking forward to hopefully finding some shade while I'm in there. I just jumped in here. Easy to see why this is a sacred place to multiple indigenous groups in the area. On top of just how it looks, which is surreal, when you walk up to the falls, this wind pulling down this cool air from the rushing water blows and hits you, and like, I don't know, it just has this crazy feeling. It feels like a spiritual awakening. And to think that people have been coming here for many, many years because of this spot being sacred, it just, I don't know, it's really special. This is a highlight of the trip for me. Well, I'm gonna go check out a couple other things in this area, but this has gotta be one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Well, needless to say, this is super cool. We're just walking along a ledge here in the canyon after checking out the falls, and we're about to turn back because we got to get to camp, but looks like the end of the trail is here at another waterfall. Wow, what an anomaly. What a special, special place this is. This looks like something you would see out of a dinosaur movie or something like that. Ted mentioned The Land Before Time. I don't know, it just seems too incredible to even be real. It's so special and amazing. And here we have, dun, 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 dun. All right, my Muskoka Brewery survival pack. I brought this along. I wanted to give Brandon a chance to try my beer too because it's in here Windbound Campfire Pilsner. And if you want to pick up my beer, you have to go to Muskoka Brewery's Tap House in Bracebridge, Ontario. But that's my beer there, Windbound. I might not be windbound right now, thankfully, like I was on my trout fishing trip when I enjoyed one with Ted, but figure it's a pretty darn good place to have one of these.
Ooh, that's good.
He likes it.
Yeah.
Nice. Cheers, man.
That's so cool. You even got your YouTube name on it and stuff.
Isn't that fun? It was
Yeah,
a
that's
fun
awesome.
project, man.
Yeah.
Well, this is where I'm sleeping tonight, and I'm sleeping under a wet towel. Hopefully, the rattlesnakes don't get me. Well, we are hiding out under this overhang like a regular old Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, because the sun, where this campsite is, the sun hits the site earlier and just starts to fry us. So we're hiding in the shade of this wonderful little overhang here. On the brighter side, I was able to get my solar panel out this morning to you know, charge a little bit more batteries, because I'm down to about like 14%. So that's good. And I'm about to chow breakfast. Well, just a little ways down from camp, we're hitting Doris Rapid. This is a class 4. All my notes say is that it's a short, fast rapid, expect to get wet. So it seems like I can run it pretty much anywhere, and it's gonna be a pretty wild ride. Yeah! We're pulling over at the top of this rapid here at Canab Creek, and we're going to try to see if we can take water, because a lot of these creeks that flow into the Colorado are nice and clear. Well, the Colorado is very, very silty, and it's just wreaking havoc on our filters. There we go. That's what we're looking for. That is just money. Crystal clear and deep enough to sink the jug, and it's moving too, so you know it's not stagnant. Look at this little slot canyon here, Brandon. Cool. Okay, well, I found some shade. Look at this. And here is Upset Rapid. But first, we decided on a little bit of a Sammy break. Well, if we miss this little eddy and get washed down this rapid, we miss Havasu Falls. Well, Havasu Falls is not disappointing. This is really cool. You can hike up quite a ways. I'm gonna go a bit more. Brandon jumped in the water back there. Ted's just behind me, I don't know, doing his own thing. And I'm gonna see if I can't get up these rocks and find a little swimming hole up here. Unbelievable. Havasu Falls. This just keeps going like this for a long way. You can fall up the canyon, all kinds of beautiful pools, rocks, boulders. Unreal. Well, Havasu Creek, man, 10 out of 10, unreal. Just paradise, just seems otherworldly. Very, very cool. One of the highlights for sure. Went to relieve myself without thinking about it, walked over a little small pile of driftwood in my bare feet, and I didn't realize here they have drift cactus, like drift cactus, like a barrel cactus with huge spikes like this. And you know, I stepped right on it, right onto my foot, bleeding all over the place. So I'm gonna have to do some first aid after dinner, but first we're gonna enjoy these brats that we cooked up on the charcoal, which was awesome. So yeah, hopefully the cactus wound isn't so bad, but yeah, it was just like dried out and washed up on shore. And at first I was like, what the hell is this? And it's jammed in my foot. I had to like pull it off, and I realized it was a hunk of cactus. So yeah, beware, there's not just driftwood here, there's drift cactus. That's good. Good morning. It is the morning of day 9 here on our adventure down the Grand Canyon. Ted and I slept out on the boats last night, but because we had to tie them up near a rapid, it was a bumpy sleep. When the water came up at night, we were basically kind of like pushed. It's not a serious rapid, but we were basically kind of pushed almost into the rapid or right to the side of it, and our boats were spinning around, and yeah, it wasn't ideal. So we kind of missed a little bit of sleep there. Today is going to be pretty interesting. We have Lava Falls, which is the most notorious rapid on the Grand Canyons, Colorado. It's a class 10. It is day 9, and 20 miles downriver from here is Lava Falls, the notorious Lava Falls. That's the rapid that has dumped the most boats. It's the most challenging piece of water on the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon, and knock on wood, but people have drowned there. So we're all a little nervous. It's a class 10 on the Grand Canyon scale, and the biggest we've run is a class 8. So if you can imagine something like significantly more intense than anything we've done up to this point. So there's a decent chance one of us flips. So on this rapid that someone must have dropped when they flipped. And it's very hard to get. It keeps disappearing. But I'm closing in on it. That American Pilsner. Look at that. That has been for a ride, man. How long has that been in the river for? American Pilsner, the Grand Canyon Brewing Company. Wow, there's a plug for them. 12 ounces of 5% beer. Looks like it had the crap beat out of it. I wonder if it's still beer left in it. It's fine. It tastes phenomenal. Cheers. Yes. Okay, here we go. We're pulling up to Lava Falls, the most notorious rapid in the Grand Canyon. A well-worn scouting trail on this one tells me that it's pretty serious. Well, there it is, folks, Lava Falls. It is, of course, it never looks as big from up here, and it still looks big. It actually looks huge. There's a line on the left that is a little technical. It could push me into the huge hole in the middle. That might be the safe line, but I'd be a little concerned. And then running it right is just like massive stuff at the end. I don't know, we might flip. And if you run it in the middle, there's like a horrific keeper that could probably flip you for sure. So just don't run it middle, but it's just gonna be a wild ride. And I think we're all gonna go together to stay close for safety. So here we go. Well, this is super cool. Right after running Lava Falls, we eddied out at a little waterfall. We thought it was a tributary. Well, it turns out it's just a rushing natural spring bursting out of the side of the bank. Look at this. Okay, well, we just ran Lava Falls and filled up at a beautiful little natural spring, but now we have a class 4. Well, I didn't film it, but I kind of buckled my knees. After I went and checked out that spring, I went to jump in the water thinking that the water was hopefully 6 feet deep, but I was careful. I'm like, okay, you know, if it's 3 feet deep, I should be okay. And just the bank looked like it was very deep there, but the water's so silty that I jumped in, it was only like 6 inches deep. And so all my weight came down on my knees when they weren't flexed at all. I only jumped from this high and just went like, bah, and just buckled my knees, and they're really sore. I'm just gonna ice them up here. Sweet and sour pork. We got what looks like naan bread there, and some rice and soy sauce. Well, my knees are pretty bad, so I'm gonna be able to make it out of this trip, but like walking around and climbing in and out of the boat is like very, very challenging for me right now. 10 days after this, I'm supposed to be doing another big trip up in the Northwest Territories, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it now if these don't get better, because I need to walk. I already have a sore shoulder from another, maybe less stupid, but another weird random accident. It's been an awesome trip. It's been a crazy trip, but an awesome trip. Everything from pouring rain and the clear water the first days to the California Condors that we saw, all the caves, the caverns, getting into the intense rapids and pushing through the roaring 20s, the little side hikes, the beautiful waterfalls, the swimming pools, the tight canyons that provided some coolness and shade that were just so awesome to explore, to Havasu Creek, swimming in that. What an absolute otherworldly gem of a place. And just the main stretch of the Colorado and the Grand Canyon itself is just something that's so incredible and special. Towering cliffs on either side, the varying scenery that's incredible around every single corner. Not a stretch is even remotely mundane at all. One of the really interesting things about this here is that when Ted and I were on a loan, and we were like suffering, trying to win a loan so we would have enough money to start our lives. I got married and started a family, bought a house, and that's something I wanted a lot. And when I was on a loan, I'd look at a picture of Tori every night, and I think that she would say, "You can do it. Don't give up." We said when we win, we should do the Grand Canyon. We should do the mountain river. And we did do the mountain river, but this Grand Canyon dream, let's just go paddle the Grand Canyon when we win this. And of course that there's permits and waiting lists, and that kind of dream got pushed to the wayside. And it's an amazing story how Brandon actually watched us on a loan. And that's how Brandon came to know us, from a loan. And he reached out to us, we were in contact with him, and he said, "Hey, do you guys want to run the Grand Canyon?" And essentially Brandon watched us on a loan. We didn't mention we were going to run the Grand Canyon on the show, but somehow from watching alone, it's come back full circle, and here we are running the Grand Canyon to fulfill that dream we had. So, and to do it with my brother too is really special. And there it is, folks. I see the takeout. We just rode 227 miles and completed the Grand Canyon from Lee's Ferry to Diamond Creek. What an adventure.